All right, our Zoom room is filling up here. It must be about time for coffee hour presented by the Penn State Alumni Association. Looking forward to visiting with Chris Thomas from Chick-fil-A. Hope everybody is doing well today. Let us know who you are and where you're from in the chat box. Go ahead and drop that information in so we can formally welcome you into coffee hour and today's great guest that we have. For those of you who like the closed caption feature, you can activate that in your Zoom window. Instructions have just been placed in the chat box, or if you are tuning in on Facebook Live, those instructions are also in the comments to activate and customize your closed caption experience. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Thanks for joining us. I see Ian King from Atlanta, Jesse Maidaw from Penn State Harrisburg. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining. I think we might have a strong contingent from Atlanta this morning, given our guest and the great work that he does down in the Atlanta area. Our good friend Anthony Mitchell chiming in from Penn State, DC. Anthony, good to hear from you this weekend. Hope you had a great visit to Happy Valley. Cheryl Harrison, Aunt Cheryl from State College, and Chris Chambers down in Tampa, Florida. Oh, Rodney Kinlaw from Atlanta as well. Welcome in, Rodney, to Coffee Hour. We'll be getting started in just a minute. I see Alan down in Altoona working remotely. Welcome to Coffee Hour. Lynn Marie DiCarlo from New Milford, New Jersey, parent of a first-year student at University Park. I'm sure you're excited to be welcoming them home later this week. Good to see you, Shelley Vaughn from Crofton, Maryland, work from home situation as well. Ron from Southampton, class of 74, welcome in. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they are passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State network. We are recording this session and closed captions are available for this event. You can find the information in your chat, in the chat on Zoom or in the comments on Facebook. Today, we are going to be talking to Chris Thomas. He is the principal team leader at Chick-fil-A. In his role, Chris is responsible for leading a team of technology specialists who help to resolve widespread technology problems that may occur in restaurants. Most recently, Chris was a senior lead advisor responsible for helping to select the best individuals to become operators of Chick-fil-A restaurants. Prior to Chick-fil-A, Chris spent 8 years with General Electric in a number of strategic marketing, sales, and talent management roles. Chris dedicates his time by serving on the boards of Aerotropolis, CID, and the African American Alumni Organization in Atlanta, as well as mentoring youth. Chris is a 2018 fellow of the New Leaders Council Institute in Atlanta, and in 2019, he was named one of 40 under 40 by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. Chris and his family reside in the metro Atlanta area. I'm excited to welcome Chris Thomas to Coffee Hour. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. How are you? I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here too. It's good to see you. It's a chilly and snowy, kind of flurrying day here in Happy Valley. But I know it's probably fantastic where you are down in Atlanta.
Just a little bit warmer, not too much warmer. We're a little bit cold on this side as well.
Hey, let's start at the very beginning, Chris. How did you become a Penn State Nittany Lion?
Yeah, so just for context, I was born in Washington, D.C. and raised in Maryland. I consider Gaithersburg area my hometown. And I actually grew up around College Park, Tacoma Park area where University of Maryland is. And I thought that's where I was going to be going to school just because of, tuition costs in-state versus out-of-state. So I pretty much thought I was going to University of Maryland, but I had applied to Penn State because I had a second cousin that was a student at Penn State. So I've heard about Penn State. So that was one of the applications that I filled out. But knowing that because of the cost, I probably wasn't going to be able to attend. But I was accepted, and I did get a partial scholarship for around $3,000, but I knew that wasn't going to be enough. But there's a great organization, SMART, which stands for Student Minority Advisory Recruitment Team. Every year, every spring, they hold a visitation weekend. So I was invited to a visitation weekend. And I just remember loving the experience, loving the campus, loving the college students that were there at the time, the professors and the faculty that I engaged with. It was very memorable. And it presented what was to be one of my, what I call life lessons, early life lessons is, always put your best foot forward because you never know who's watching. So about 2 weeks after that visitation weekend, I got a call from the minority director of the business school at that time, Ms. Jocelyn Bennett. She asked me what I thought about the weekend, and she shared with me that, a lot of people were impressed just with my presence and attendance and just being very engaged throughout that weekend. And that caused them to kind of reevaluate my application. And they were happy to offer me an extension of my $3,000 scholarship up to a tuition and fees, which was a huge blessing. And that allowed me to go to Penn State and become a Penn Stater. So that visit and that call changed my life for sure.
What an amazing story, and part of a strong contingent of students that come from the DMV and call Happy Valley home for the 4 years while they are undergrads. When then you came to Penn State and you were an active student leader. So what activities were you involved in while you were here in Happy Valley?
Yeah, I got involved right away. So I remember kind of the East Halls. I was in East Hall. Shout out to East Halls. East Halls, they had kind of like a leadership committee to just plan events and things of that nature. So got involved with that. Got involved with Black Caucus pretty quickly. Was pretty ambitious, ran for president my freshman year, didn't win. I think it was some technicalities around that though, but didn't win. Joined the business council, and then also pledged and joined my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which I later became president for 2 terms. I was involved with the National Panhellenic Council, which is the governing Greek body for the Black fraternities and sororities on campus. Served as vice president, and I believe sergeant of arms or parliamentarian, one of those two. Also was involved with Sankofa, which was a group that came about to just bring together leaders. Was involved with the University Park Allocation Committee, which was a great group to be a part of. Those that are not familiar, at least at the time, I don't know if it's still the same. Pretty much when you pay some of your fees, your student activity fees, all the money goes into a pot. And then that pot is used for different events for student organizations to hold, programs, conferences, concerts, etc. So that was just a great experience just to see the wide breadth of different organizations, groups, and offerings that was happening on University Park's campus. I may or may not have been part of a secret society. I'll leave that there. My senior year, I danced in Thon, which was an incredible experience. And then that visitation weekend that I talked about with SMART, I always tried to serve as a host because I knew that was such an instrumental part of who I was, my experience at Penn State. So I wanted to serve as a host for other students while I was there as well.
I think of the college experience in a lot of ways like a wet towel. My daughter's a freshman in college, and I told her, think about your experience as a wet towel. I'm handing it to you your first day, and when you bring it back to me, I want it to be completely dry, right? I want you to wring every drop of water out of that wet towel that you possibly can. And it sounds like you did absolutely that. You didn't leave anything on the table in terms of leadership opportunities, multiple organizations, dancing in Thon. I mean, that's almost the quintessential Penn State experience, and you got it done in the classroom too.
That I
So,
did.
yeah, and you also took advantage of other opportunities at Penn State, like study abroad. As an undergraduate, you studied abroad in Costa Rica and in London. Then, as an MBA candidate, when you came back to Penn State, you participated in the Global Immersion Program. How did these experiences position you for the work you've done after Penn State for GE and for Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I've always been fascinated by international business and globalization. So I knew early on I wanted to have an international business component to it, and as part of that, you're required to do a study abroad. So Costa Rica was my first one, and I was living with a host family, and it was a great experience. Some may label it like a semester-long vacation, but I got some work done as well. But it made me realize that I don't know if I want to necessarily be abroad, especially in a speaking a language outside of English, although I was taking Spanish. So I came back, kind of wrestled through what I wanted to do, but didn't want to give up on that kind of international field. So I actually looked to do a second one, and little did I know that that was prohibited to an extent. So what I actually had to do was to get the syllabi for the international program that I wanted to do in London and look at the courses that would be offered at Penn State, and pretty much pleaded my case to the then dean at the time. And luckily it was approved. So then I went to London, and that was a great experience as well. But it did have let me realize that although I liked international business and globalization, that family, friends, experiences were just that much more important to me. So I never wanted to live abroad, but I wanted to, conduct myself in an international environment. So especially at GE, where one of my roles was a global recruiting director for one of our leadership development programs for mid-level professionals. We were looking to grow that program from more so a US, Japanese, Western European program to exploring and finding candidates in Africa and Middle East and Asia and Eastern Europe. So I definitely leveraged the learnings that I had from just an international acumen, cultural awareness, and when I just kind of take a step back and think about that experience, I mean, it all comes down to realizing that people are people no matter where you are, right? So people are people first. It's all about building relationships with individuals, and then from a business standpoint, it's all about doing honest work, doing transparent work, and doing competent work. So yeah, it was a priceless experience. And then now at Chick-fil-A, as we just ventured into Canada, I believe it was last year, and as we have prospects around the globe, I'm not part of that team now, but just anytime I could be tapped to put me in, coach, I have experience to help us build as we continue to grow.
Absolutely, just another tool in your tool belt that you can provide value to the organizations that you work for. This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by Chris Thomas. He's the principal team leader at Chick-fil-A. So we mentioned you came back to Penn State and you got your MBA, and then you went back to GE and restarted your career. Talk a little bit about your early roles at GE.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, when I look at master's programs, especially MBAs, right, you either can look at it as an opportunity to advance within the field that you're in, or even with the company that you're in, or you can look at it as an opportunity to really pivot to something else. I was the latter. I enjoyed my experience in real estate and sales and marketing for a residential builder, which was NB Homes, Ryan Homes, but I know I wanted to do something different. So got connected with GE between my first and second year of MBA program. I did my internship in Toronto with the consumer finance part of the business, working on credit cards. And then I joined the program full time, which consisted of it was a 2-year program, 4 6-month rotations in the commercial finance part of the business. And it was just a great experience. I had the opportunity to move every 6 months. So started in Danbury, Connecticut, then went to Scottsdale, Arizona, Irvine, California, and then Chicago, Illinois. Reached out to Penn State Alumni Association chapters in all those locations, and went to football viewing parties when they were in season and such. So that was a great experience. But the experience themselves was great because it was both project-based and kind of flow business. And just because of the nature of that rotational program, I got exposure to a lot of different industries within financial services. So everything from healthcare finance to aircraft leasing to transportation finance, and then ironically, franchise financing as well.
So today you're the principal team leader at Chick-fil-A. But what I thought was really interesting, so I read the introduction, right? And in the introduction, you lead a team of technology specialists, right, that provides solutions across the company. But when I read on your LinkedIn, your job description was helping individuals unlock their true potential, and and so uh, I want to get into that, but I want to know like what the focus of your position is, because while it seems like technology is what you do every day, your focus seems to be different. Kind of your focus seems to be on your people and not necessarily the technology solutions that they are delivering. So talk a little bit about your day to day and how you think about that as a leader.
Yeah, definitely. So for context, so I come from a sales, marketing, commercial background. Have dabbled a little bit in human resources or HR. So been with Chick-fil-A for 5 years now. For 4+ years, I was with our franchisee selection department, helping to select owner operators. And then earlier this year, I was given the opportunity to try something out for a short period of time. It was extended to be a short period of time, 4 months. But then once I got engaged with the team, I liked the experience and I saw the potential. So switching to technology has been a stretch for me. It's taken me outside of my comfort zone. I'm no longer the subject matter expert in the technologies themselves, but I like to hopefully think of myself as a subject matter expert on people and on processes and on procedures. So that's essentially kind of what my day-to-day looks like, working with what I deemed to be this dream team of individuals that are really skilled in understanding the different technologies within a restaurant. So everything from our POS or purchase system to the Chick-fil-A app and the digital aspect or third-party delivery, they're all experts in different areas. And anytime there are big widespread outages or disruptions in the restaurants, they're the team that individuals go to, and then they partner with our IT department to make sure that there's fixes and they try to prevent that. So to your point, the investing in the people part, knowing that I'm no expert in technology, my expertise comes in people and wanting to provide as much that I can for them to be the best that they can be in doing what they can do so that they can, better serve our restaurants and then the restaurants better serve the customers.
You bring up you bring up the keeping the technology up, and you don't want to cause disruption within the stores. Well, the disruption that's been caused over the past several months hasn't been the technology, but it's been a public health crisis.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your approach as a leader of your team, and maybe even Chick-fil-A's overall approach to COVID-19, like starting in March when it first kind of took hold of our country, and how that has evolved over the past couple months.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, COVID-19 has rocked all of our worlds, right? And turned everything upside down. But it's been an enlightening experience to really understand kind of what's essential, what's important. So like a lot of other businesses, we had to pivot and really focus on areas where we can more effectively serve our customers, which for us was the drive-through. And luckily, that's been something that has already been a big investment and a big focus for us at Chick-fil-A, and making sure that we had an efficient and thorough drive-through where we could serve our customers fast and hot and fresh food. But there's been so much focus on that drive-through and making sure the efficiencies are there, and then also really leveraging our Chick-fil-A app for ordering, and then partnering with the third-party vendors for delivery as well, in addition to our own on-demand delivery or operator-led delivery within the restaurants as well. So that's been a heightened focus for us. And then just during the times from a philosophical or a leadership standpoint, um, it's really just getting to know the team, right? So going back to this role that I'm in now is fairly new. So I joined this department and I joined this team, joined this kind of COVID virtual work from home environment. So I didn't have the fortune to be in the office and to kind of connect organically with individuals. So a lot of it has been leveraging technology to connect with my team, both one-on-one, but then as a team as well, to make sure that we can keep that team camaraderie going. As a marketer in the past, it's important for me to kind of tag and coin things. So one thing that I wanted to do that I wanted to engage with my team is I called it the front yard pop-up with Pop. So, reached out to the team to make sure that they were okay, that we would socially distance connect, but got their favorite non-alcoholic beverage, brought my lawn chair and pretty much drove to their houses and, sat on their lawn for half an hour and a half to just really connect with them, get to know them on a personal basis so that as we continue to build our relationship, we kind of have that foundation. Outside of that, it's just about being an authentic leader for me. So just being honest, being transparent, letting them know I don't have all the answers, and I look to them to help me to grow and to get to that optimal, solution, whatever we may be working on. And then the second aspect is just being a servant leader, right? Knowing that my role is to really serve them, make them be better employees, make them be better leaders, remove obstacles out of their way so that they can be the best that they can be. And then I would say from a company perspective, what I've really appreciated is that, the company knows that we're hard workers and we have good intentions, and we've been working in overdrive during this time. And they've really been pushing, and I've been pushing on my team, just this aspect of self-care and making sure that the teams are, taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, just making sure they maintain a good headspace, making sure that they take PTO or paid time off, because you never want them to get to that point that they're just burnt out from working so much. And then just trying to introduce this aspect of work-life integration, so not work-life balance because everything's so integrated now. So just really work-life integration so that everything flows as smoothly as possible with work and family and community and involvement and things of that nature is what I tried to do during this time.
It's funny how our focus has shifted on what we worry about, right? We used to worry about an 8 to 5 work day. We used to worry about dress code in the right in the workplace. And COVID-19 has really taught us that none of that is critical to success, right? Allowing flexibility in your workforce to both get their work done and be a mother or father and a parent and a friend. And so it's I think we have learned a lot. COVID-19 has taught us a lot about what the new workspace could look like and the new kind of work environment will look like moving forward.
Agreed.
One of the other things that has taken place here at Penn State, at least within our division, and I know that you have some experience in this, is the formation of employee resource groups. We have just put together 3 or 4 of those groups right here within our Division of Development and Alumni Relations. These are basically how I would describe it would be groups of employees with common interests that get together and discuss and work on those interests. We have a young employee, employee resource group. We have a LGBTQ resource group. You have some experience in starting that at Chick-fil-A. About a year ago, you started the Black Employees Resource Group for Chick-fil-A. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that came about?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the primary focus is celebration of diversity, right? Ironically, I like to engage myself with other groups as well. So, actually, a coworker and a friend of mine, Sherrod Pate, and I were actually at a women's leadership conference. So, the Women's Food Service Forum, we were there, and that conference was just so big on celebrating and promoting diversity, and then the benefits that come for it. Benefits for business, the benefits for employees, the benefits for community. And she and I were just so energized by that, and just started having initial conversations there. I've come from companies like GE and PNC where they had these affinity or employee resource groups. So I knew that they exist. I knew the benefits of them. So when I started at Chick-fil-A and I looked around, I'm like, all right, where are these groups? Where do I sign up? I was surprised that they didn't exist. I'm the type of person, if I don't see it, I build it, so that's what Sherrod and I did. And, our focus has just been on, providing avenues and providing an environment where individuals can come together, build community within a community, present present and put together programming that really benefits the business, benefits the employees, both personally and professionally, and then serves the Atlanta community. It's been a great experience, but as you said, this year has been very different, right? There's been a lot of tragedies and racially charged unrest. And it made me really reflect. And, Sherrod and I have talked about this where, it's all about God's timing, right? I think, God purposely gave us the opportunity to present this organization to be an outlet for Black employees to come together and connect and to talk and to get things off of their chests and just feel comfortable in an environment. But it also gave us the opportunity to connect with leadership at Chick-fil-A to just talk about the experiences and brainstorm on ideas to just improve overall. And then, we've always been an inclusive group, even though it's a Black employee resource group. We've always been inclusive and open to all employees and staff. But it's been great during the summer and the fall to just really see the uptick of non-Black employees that have joined and gotten involved to really serve as allies to just learn and continue to build relationships and kind of just do our part to grow a small company here at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I want to dig a little deeper into that. The events at the end of May when George Floyd was murdered. Um, can you talk a little bit about? So we all have informal networks, right? And informal kind of groups of colleagues that we lean on from time to time. But the formality and having that structure already in place when that happened, and when that moment has turned into this movement now across our country. Um, how did the employee resource group? How were you there for Black employees, for non-Black employees, to help them kind of understand this time? And not that anyone can understand this time, but really kind of cope with what's going on in the world around them, and be able to lean on others around them.
Yeah, it was a combination of things. So the company overall had a number of listening sessions with our executive council where they would, host different listening sessions to just really be an opportunity to talk and to share. And I know that was important for me just to have that platform to just connect with other employees, to just talk about what was going on, acknowledge it, and share experiences. From the Berg perspective, we held a number of different virtual events where we would, kind of educate and just talk in general, but then have breakout rooms for individuals to have small, connected and open conversations just around their experiences and what they're feeling. But then we followed that up with transitioning with different areas and focuses to say, okay, within the realm of what we can try to influence and try to control, what are some ideas that we can do both within the company, within the community, within our lives to just advance the movement and social justice overall. And so there's things that we came up with that we are able to put into play and to move forward with moving forward as an organization, but then also the company as well, has had different initiatives to move forward and continue the conversation and continue the initiatives. So that's been great. And then there's been a combination of, just what I call education and celebration, right? So we had a Juneteenth celebration in the middle of the summer. That was a great opportunity. That was a kind of a staff-wide event to just educate on, what Juneteenth is, the importance of it, and just talk through a number of different things. So I think as things go on, it's important to, as you said, make sure that it's not just a moment, but it is a movement, that we change kind of our thought process. We change what it is that we do. We continue the conversations, and we just continue to advance and build. I know for myself in particular, I know things are not going to change overnight. But my focus is in trying to touch and connect with individuals to just change hearts and change mindsets so that we could just continue to grow and advance as a unified people.
For most people, Chris, this is where the conversation would end, right? We would have talked about their career and all that they've done, and that would be it. But then I have all these other questions now about the other things that you do. I mean, I don't know where you find the time to do all that you do, and be the great husband and father that I know that you are. But since graduation, not only have you served the companies that you've served in really meaningful ways, in ways that extend beyond just your job description, as you've just described, but you've also found ways to give back to Penn State. You were active with Chick-fil-A in Philly. You've served on Alumni Council, and now you're the founder and president of the Chick-fil-A down in Atlanta. Talk about your service back to dear old state.
Yeah, so I feel like Penn State has given me so much, right? So loved it so much. Came back for another for another course, so a double dipper. But started with that Bunton scholarship that afforded me the opportunity to come to an undergraduate, and then the same applied for the merit-based scholarship for my MBA as well, in addition to a graduate assistantship. So I feel like I owe a lot to Penn State, right? And I feel like it's a duty to be involved and to give back. So I just look for different ways to, just give back to the university itself. I also think that representation matters. So it's been important for me to present and establish environments where Black alumni can feel connected and feel welcome, and really make that connection back to the university so that they can get involved and so that they can give back. And then I think it's always good to have a diverse perspective as far as a voice, of alumni. So, that's why I sought opportunities on the Alumni Council and, the SMIL MBA Advisory Board, to just really be a voice of representation, not only for the Black community, but just a diverse community, marketing, financial services, et cetera, because I just think it's important just to be a representative and to give back.
You mentioned the Bunton Scholarship. I know that you were also a Fast Start student when you were at Penn State. It's a mentoring program for first-year students from underrepresented backgrounds to help them get that fast start in their college career. But then not only did you participate in those programs as a student, but like you just said, you felt that Penn State gave you a lot, so you felt the need to kind of turn around and do that for others. So for the past 15 years, you've served 15 plus years at least. You've served as a Fast Start mentor. You're a mentor in your community. As I was reading down your resume, and especially the part about how you try to unlock the potential of your team and how you serve as a mentor in your community and here at Penn State, is it safe to say your true passion is coaching and mentoring and helping others?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, I look at mentoring and coaching is not only a passion, but I truly believe it's part of my purpose here on earth, right? I truly believe that God has given me the gift to easily connect with people and to use my experience, trials and tribulations and also successes to really connect and empathize with people. When I think about it, part of my personal purpose statement in life includes helping individuals to discover or rediscover their worth, their passion, and their purpose. Because I firmly believe when they have one, two, or all three of those, they just navigate with life with a little bit more purpose and, as corny as it sounds, just more happy. So I just try to do my part to really help people to just really understand their worth, their passion, and identify what their purpose is here on earth.
And look, it's making a huge difference. I think of mentees that you've had. I can see in the chat Anthony Mitchell, right? Anthony's telling everybody how you were his first Fast Start mentor and the reason that he became a mentor himself. But look at what he has gone off and done, in part because of the help that you gave him early on. I think of the work that he's done in DC. I think of the Engage with Impact work that he is now doing. to have just the important conversations that we should be having right now, and the important conversations that help young leaders like him. Uh, it's the the impact that you have had. It kind of um, was the spark to so much impact that others are now having. And I know us at Penn State, we're truly grateful for all that you have given back to the university. You mentioned Penn State has given you so much. I feel like you've paid it back and then some.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and one of the ways we show that love is by giving awards, right? You've won the PSAA Diversity Award in 2012. You were an Alumni Achievement Award recipient, just to name a couple. What does this recognition from your alma mater mean to you?
It's always an honor, and it's always humbling that your work via your purpose and your passion is recognized, right? I think the recognition for me is just a confirmation that I'm doing right, I'm on the right track, and that I'm doing something to make an impact and make a difference. But they also serve as motivators, right? Motivators and catalysts for me to continue doing what I'm doing, to continue to act, continue to build, and just continue to provide, my time, my treasure, and my talents for Penn State, for the alumni, but more importantly for the students.
I love that. I love that the award isn't kind of the end, but a motivator for more. I was just talking to a group of students last week, and I said that you know success isn't you versus everybody, right? Success is you versus yesterday, right? and
Very true.
and are you a better version of yourself than you were yesterday? Are you asking the question after you've accomplished something, what's next, right? Because if you become complacent or satisfied, that's the enemy of progress. And so I love that these awards have served as motivation for you, not to kind of sit back and say, look what I've done, but motivation to do even more.
Absolutely. And if I could touch on that, because that was another life lesson for me, right? Because I felt that, especially early on in my career, I was always grinding, always looking for the next goal. So it's kind of two-part, right? It's one, when you do identify kind of a mountaintop and you've made it to that mountaintop, taking the time to rest and pause and enjoy the view, right? Because I think we don't do that enough, especially if you're type A and motivated, you're always kind of on. But taking a break, taking a pause to enjoy the accomplishment, enjoy the view. But then, as you said, kind of set your sights on that next pinnacle that you can try to move towards for sure.
Yeah, I like the concept too of like enjoying the view for a little bit, and also kind of recognizing those who helped you get there. Right? We don't
Absolutely.
achieve anything on our own. I mean, your story here is about how other people d- didn't do anything right other than provide an opportunity, and
Correct.
then you took advantage. Right? And that's we all have that in our lives, and it's that opportunity to pause and kind of enjoy the view is also that opportunity to show gratitude to those who helped you get there.
Absolutely.
Um, this is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford, joined by Chris Thomas, a 2012 Alumni Achievement Award recipient. All right, we like to have a little bit of fun here at the end of Coffee Hour. So I'm going to throw just a couple quick questions at you, and you give me what immediately pops to mind. So, what is your favorite Penn State memory?
Ah, favorite Penn State memories. It's hard to choose one. I would say probably just joining my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and just the collection of memories that go along with that. Definitely, kind of stands out as one of the memories. But then also part of kind of a protest, so to say. So back in, I believe it was 2000 or 2001, there was a lot of unrest that was going on campus. And I remember being part of a sit-in in then President Spanier's office to demand some changes for students. And I just remember that just being pinnacle, because it kind of really grounded me in the aspects of just standing up for things that you believe in. So I would say a combination of those two, my fraternity and then that sit-in.
Excellent. Your favorite class at Penn State?
Uh, So I'm gonna give you two here, kind of bucking the system. So undergraduate, I would say it was an international business globalization class taught by my Fast Start mentor, Dr. Vernis Wellman. And then on the graduate side, for my MBA, I would say it was strategic brand marketing with Professor Ralph Oliva.
Great. Your favorite menu item at Chick-fil-A?
Definitely the spicy chicken sandwich with extra pickles. I will say a close runner-up is we're piloting the spicy strips, and they're in a couple of markets, but they haven't been rolled out across. But once those spicy strips make it on the menu fully, that will definitely be it.
If you could have dinner at Chick-fil-A with anyone other than your wonderful family, who would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be at Chick-fil-A. I just threw that in there because you're in the industry.
Makes sense. Chick-fil-A is a good place to eat at for sure. I'm gonna get a little bit religious, and I would say Jesus Christ, because it would be an honor to be in His presence, and it would be a humbling and a great opportunity to learn firsthand from Him.
Great answer. Your most unusual we are moment, and I'm talking about like you're walking through an airport, or you're on the Great Wall of China, or kind of where did you hear we are when you didn't expect it?
Yeah, for me, it was in South Africa or close to South Africa. So it was on a family trip with my in-laws, and we were at a rest stop actually in Swaziland. And there was a bus of students that got off a bus. And I saw a student with a Penn State shirt, and I ironically was wearing a Penn State shirt as well. And I can't remember if we actually said we are and Penn State at that time, but we definitely connected. He was actually a current student at that time, and we took a picture. So that was definitely a great experience to just really show kind of the global reach of Penn State and we are.
That's amazing. What is your favorite Penn State sport?
Definitely Penn State football, although it's been a little bit hard this season for sure. But definitely want to go on record to say I support Coach Franklin, support our players, and support the staff.
Absolutely. And your favorite flavor of creamery ice cream?
And this is always funny because I know people love kind of, the different flavors and the abstract flavors. I'm a little bit plain. I just go with chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay. Excellent. How I can think a great marriage would be creamery ice cream in all Chick-fil-A locations. That's something maybe we could work on.
That would be an idea. I'll take that to our menu strategy team.
Chris, your life and your work and your service has swelled thy fame of dear old state. And for that, we're truly grateful. Thanks for sharing your story this morning on Coffee Hour.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And I want to thank you for joining us. Chris, make sure you take a look at the chat. You're getting a lot of love in the chat this morning. If you are a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you so much for your support. If you're not a member, go to our website at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can become a member of the world's largest alumni association. Thanks for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State.